Hello walkers, and welcome back to City Walks, the channel where we amble around and see cool things and find new things and have just relaxed travel experience. Today is early November. It's about 2 p.m., 51 degrees Fahrenheit, about 11 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about where we are, but first, as always, my name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker today, your virtual travel guide as we explore this location just south of Livingston. I'm going to turn you around here. It is along the Yellowstone River, as you may have guessed. And we've actually walked here a couple years ago. It's Mallards Rest. It's a campground and river access site. But we're going to walk a little bit different today. I've discovered, after living here for, 18 years, 19 years, that there's some state land over here. So we're going to take a nice, relaxing walk along the river, and we'll get away from this highway here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it if you would do so. It does help me out with YouTube discovering me and putting me up where others can find me. Liking the video also helps. And then on a personal level, I just really enjoy getting your comments. So if you could do that, I would appreciate it. Tell me your stories, your thoughts, and your successes. Maybe some corrections or some additional info, anything I missed. And we'll go from there. I do read all of those, all the ones that make it through the YouTube filter. So I would appreciate you doing that. I tend to talk on these, as many of you know, and have encouraged me to do, so I'm going to do that. You can see sort of these old fence lines, and then typically a fence line would have orange on it, indicating no trespassing in private land. And that is not the case because it's not private land. It is state land, at least according to my app that I am working with. And hopefully I'm going to use this to try and stay on the public land. I see a gate up here, so that should be good. We're at a bluff here. This is one of our favorite places to take out, actually, of the river. We'll put in at Gray Owl fishing access site, and we'll float down to Mallards. It's called the Bird Float locally. Little local knowledge there. And of course, in the spring, all this gravelly area down there below is underwater. Right now, the water levels are down because nothing's melting, and we're not getting any loads of rain or anything, which is normal for this time of year. But you can see we're probably 40 or 50 feet above the river here, and it's a nice place to walk, nice pleasant place to walk, especially once we drop down. Hopefully I've done the right way. Drop down and get away from the highway, which is Highway 89 south. I guess north too, but it heads down to the park from Livingston. Looks like we might get cliffed out here, but that's all right. We can scramble down the side. Might have to backtrack a little bit here in a second. Look at all this prickly pear down here. Ooh, that's smarts when you get it in your foot, or if you sit on it, or as I have done several times, kneel on it. Pretty spiky. You can see a lot of erosion on this bank, but surprisingly little. I think all this, you can see this cobble that's been left here. I think this was a glacial lake, or my wife and I argue about this a little bit, but whether it was a glacial valley or a glacial lake. I think it's a glacial lake. Or maybe it is the moraine. Looks like somebody's put a medicine wheel, or have to assume recreated a medicine wheel, or maybe they're just doing some rock art there. In any case, we're not going to backtrack too far. Hopefully this isn't distracting. Not too bad of a clamber. It is rifle season right now. I was gonna go hike the Hogsback, which is over there, that sharp ridge line. And it's private land, but they allow people to hike on it very generously. But this time of year is rifle season, and they close it down. They put up a sign that says closed October, basically the month of November. And which is great, you know, they let the public use that for the rest of the year, and then during hunting season they block it off for themselves, and probably also for safety, I have to imagine. There's also a dog that hangs out over there, I think one of the ranch dogs, and tries to get you to pet him, and he'll bark at you sometimes, or she will, I don't know, but friendly. All right, see what we have here. Entering state land, walk-in only. State land recreational use, road closed to all motorized vehicles. Awesome. And you've got a little chain that we're going to unhook here. And the rule is, if you're not familiar, out here in Montana and other places, if you find a gate closed, when you go through it, you close it. And when you find it open, you leave it open. So, that's what we're going to do. I was saying this bend really hasn't changed much in the 20 years I've been here, well, 18 years to be more accurate. So I thought that was interesting, you know. Despite the occasional rock falls, despite the obvious erosion you see here, the river really hasn't eaten away at it too much, at least to my memory. You can see there's some snow on the mountains over here. That's the Absarokas, I think it's the Absarokas. It's the Absaroka Beartooth Wilderness Area, and my son is very specific about which are which, but then he knows. So another float that we do often is from Mallards, here where we are, down to Carter's Bridge, which is kind of all the way down there to the canyon. I think it's called Rock Canyon. And that's a nice full day, and we'll stop along the way and pull out chairs, and the kids will dig in the mud and swim and do the kid things, find dead deer jaws and play with the dogs. We'll eat picnic food and have a few drinks. A lot of fun. It's a little, probably shouldn't be walking. You can see that there's a lip that could easily, here's a better view of it, probably not support a whole lot of weight, but the roots of these plants, these prairie plants, are absolutely amazing. I think like 80% of their biomass is underground, and they can reach down 10 to 15 feet. And so they're really well adapted at having a minimum amount above ground where it can be, killed with by blowing snow or freezing temperatures. And at the same time, they can put up enough, and also to lose moisture to the very dry air out here. And at the same time, they have enough exposed to photosynthesize food from the sun. Of course, in the summer here, we get a lot of light, a lot of daylight during the, from morning till I'm not saying it very accurately. We have longer days here, longer photo periods in the summer because of the northern latitude. Right now it's, we're getting close to, we're about a month and a half away from winter solstice, and it seems to be getting dark quickly. I think partly because sunset is right around the time that we're getting home, we're making dinner, and we tend to notice it more. So it seems like it's getting darker faster. Let's walk over and see this tree. If you guys have any questions, please, again, in the comments section, let me know. I want to thank you to our Patreon supporters. Got 3 last week. 3 people signed up. Very happy to see that. It's always such a kick for me to think that people like this channel enough to support it. It's kind of a thrill. It brings a smile to my face, and of course it helps a little bit. I don't normally spend a lot with this channel, but it adds up, fuel prices and occasionally travel and hard drive space from time to time. All right. So down here, I could go down here, and part of that is state land, it looks like, but part of it isn't. So I'm going to stay up on this bench, which is actually a right-of-way, looks like, or maybe it's this. Right, I'll go over here and show you. There's an irrigation ditch, and on the map, there's like this little band of private land, which I think must be this little irrigation ditch. It's been diverted. This water is, I believe, come from either the Yellowstone or a feeder stream, and been diverted several miles over here, and it'll continue on. Allows farmers and ranchers to irrigate a little bit. I've told you many times, this is called Paradise Valley, which seems like, if you just hear it, a little bit of an oversell, but man, it is beautiful in here. All these mountains on either side, really, but especially these to the east are amazing. It's been built up more and more every year, and so less and less open area, less and less open space. And I think, that's, to a certain extent, that's progress. But I also, there are certain places that would be nice to preserve their wild nature. I'd love to see what this place would look like if it was just left alone, for 20, 30 years. I think it'd be pretty amazing. I kind of wonder if it would be all cottonwoods, or if you'd end up with, a lot of sagebrush, like that poor sickly looking shrub there. But we won't know. You can see, point you down here real quick, but people come out here and hunt and recreate. That's what it's for. And you can see some people a long time ago left some old tin cans. I have no idea how old those are, but given that things don't really rust the same way they do out here as they do back east and on the coast, I'm willing to bet it's been a long time. Look at the light in the distance hitting those slopes, breaking through the clouds. I bought this little lens filter, polarizing filter for this thing, for this camera. The DJI Osmo Pocket 2. And sorry, I was hearing an animal. I think it was an eagle. And I used it once, and then I took it off to do another film project, and I keep forgetting to put it back on. Oh, you guys can't see it because the lens is too wide, but there's an eagle getting chirpy back there. A couple of them. They are big, big birds. Normally you see them from a distance, so they don't seem that big. But out here you'll see them down on roadkill, and they'll be right next to the road, and you're like, wow. I'm stopping to pick something up. I want to show you guys. This is a bullet casing. A high-powered rifle of some sort. I can't read it. My eyes are too bad. A 243 maybe. I'll take that home with me, throw it away. People come out here, shoot recreationally, hunt, like I said. And occasionally they don't pick up all of their casings. I'm going to show you something up here that I don't know what it is. I saw one down low, down on this river bottom. It's this yellow and green striped cylinder hanging from trees. It's the second one I've seen. Almost like a bird feeder, but I suspect it is a trap for insects as part of a study. A lot of times they'll do that. They'll put out pine bark beetle traps to get an idea of what the population of an area might be. Or I think the new thing is a spotted lanternfly, which aren't supposedly out here yet. And I hope they don't come, but you never know. Usually they're labeled. That does not look like a trap, actually. Looks like a homemade piece of PVC pipe. And I'm going to tilt it. It's hollow. I have a theory as to what that is, and I would encourage you guys to put your theories in the comment section. Haha. I'm going to get you to make comments one way or another. I mentioned generating traffic and generating awareness, but really the comments are just for me. So this is part of my theory as to what that might be. It's the second one I've seen. And my guess is if we looked, we would see another one of those yellow things down in there, but I'm not seeing it right now. I'm so glad that I decided to walk over here. The Hogsback is awesome. Beautiful views. Great hike. But it's fun to find new ground sometimes and explore a little bit and check things out. So I'm checking my map again, make sure I'm still on the state land. I think it's going to be fenced off, so should be a pretty clear indicator. It's such a nice place to walk. I can still hear the highway, but there's a fair amount of distance now. I've been working, this morning I was working on the traveling mail video from our Alaska trip, and I've been slow on that because I've had other things going on, but I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Oh my gosh. I've seen, whoa. Okay, now I'm sorry that you guys aren't going to be able to see this. I don't think. We'll see what we can see up here. Anyway, over here I was like, oh, there's 2 or 3 eagles in a tree. Very cool. And as those are the ones I heard, they don't make that TV sound that is actually a red-tailed hawk call. They're more of a sort of a chattering, high-pitched chatter. It's really kind of neat. But then they kept flying downstream, and now I'm looking at this tree, and see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I believe 7 eagles in a tree down there. So I'm gonna go see. We're gonna come up to this fence line where I believe the public property ends, and see what we can see up there at this fence line. And they'll tend to do that, I think. They'll congregate. I think Haines, Alaska is famous for this. In the winter, the eagles will come in there, the bald eagles, and hang out and feed in the river and winter there. Oh, there goes one. Hopefully I don't spook them off their perches. You can also see here where some orange fence posts. There's a plaque that was painted orange. There's also some survey markers, so it looks like maybe somebody's going to build. That's indicating private land. And also, it used to be that if it wasn't marked, you could go on it without permission, without getting permission. But that has changed. All right, so eagles are behind those trees there. I'm going to start counting, and hopefully we'll get a fairly accurate count. And we're going to pop down, and we'll get a see them because they're over by the river. I see 1 in a tree straight out. I'm going to have to count and walk down this somewhat perilous slope. It's not too bad. All right. But I do have to pay attention. And so this fence line is the end of the public land. Oh, our eagle in the tree has flown. I see 1 straight across, a group of 4, and then off to the left here. I'm going to see if I can. I think they are not going to like me here, but anyway, I'm going to see if I can bring up my app to zoom in a bit. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 is what I'm counting. And some are leaving. They don't like me over here. But I'm going to zoom in here. It's saying no device found. I don't believe that. It's not going to do it. Anyway, I will try to punch in after the fact. I don't think I can. That's my tilt. There is like a 2x zoom on here. Maybe you can see their white tails. I'll try and punch in after the fact. But that's really cool. Hope you don't mind me spending so much time on that. Whoops. It's done something, the camera, so sorry about that. Had something called active track where it tries to keep the camera on that regardless of where I go. See all this down cottonwood here. Cottonwood is really kind of a soft, crumbly wood. I think I lost a bunch of them flew away. That's very cool, Joe. I love seeing those things. Of course, it's the national bird of the United States, contrary to Benjamin Franklin's perspective. Ooh, look what we found. Another hint to our stripy yellow cylinder mystery. So I will share with you what my theory here sometime between now and the end of the video as a teaser to what my theory is. But still, let me know what you think in the comments section, and if you got it right. Well, I mean, I can't tell you if you got it right or wrong because I'm not confident. Not 100% confident that's what it is, but I'm pretty confident. Here's another one. And there's another one up here by the river. Now the map says that there's some private land down in here, but I don't see it indicated. And I do see another one of these yellow and blue things, so we're going to go down a little bit further and trust that since it's not marked, it's going to be okay. There is something soothing and relaxing about flowing water, moving water. Traveling Mel has said that it has something to do with the ionization of the air due to the static electricity of the water being moved around. And sounds plausible, but I think it's probably, personally, I think it's probably more atavistic than that. I know that I was told one time in literature class, here's another one of those cylinders. I was told that water often symbolized dreams or the subconscious in literature. Now, I also think that there's plenty of opportunities to reinterpret literature, so look at this, a little riffle down here, a little beach. I mean, just that white noise from the moving water is pretty nice. Up over here we got a flock of mergansers going along the water. These are common mergansers. They are a type of duck that feeds on fish, and there are common mergansers like that, and then there are hooded mergansers as well. Looks like there might be a mallard out there as well. Let's walk along here for a little bit. See what else we can see. That's the City Walks Way. Apologize for any unsteadiness. I'm walking on this kind of rough cobble. Some people fishing down here. We're going to be floating by. Nice day to be out on the river. Not too windy, not too cold. Not too many other people out. Probably gonna cut back up here a little bit. It's interesting to think also, for me anyway, what it must have been like 100, 200 years ago here, 300 years ago, 400 years ago. Huh. Look at this. I wonder what has gotten after this. Looks like, I don't know what has gotten in there. Partly birds pecking away for insects. But I kind of wonder if somebody's been shooting at it, or this little mushroom in there could just be rotting, you know. Could be people shooting at it. I suspect just rotting in birds, so. I'm going to speak a little bit louder right now. So if there are any hunters in here, which I don't think there are, they'll have a chance to know that I'm not a deer. I like this open kind of parkland forest in the summer. These trees, well, there's a little bit more understory, but I want to show you something else first before I chat too much. You can see some gnawing there where that was food for a beaver for a little bit before it fell over, a long time ago. But we have seen beavers on this river. They're not all, another clue. Another trace of our mystery. Ooh, and look, another thing here. It looks like almost a blind that somebody was using. Well, maybe it's just a place to have a campfire. Nice place. See the water not too far away, and when it's high, it would be right in here too. Got a friend who would be interested in these yellow and black and striped things. Oh, look at that. Yeah, almost gave you too much of a clue there. Maybe we'll get another chance before we end this to reveal my theory. Also, look at the sand. You can see some other people have been down here, but so have some deer. I can see some deer prints. See if I can pick one out for you. Yeah, there we go. Here we go. So this right there. Little deer print. Some dog prints, of course. Great place to come walk your dog. If you guys make it to the end of this video, which I hope you do, I often put up some cards there, some sort of previews and links to click through. If you could click through one of those, that would also be helpful. YouTube apparently, here's another one of these things. YouTube apparently looks at that when recommending videos. Right on. All right, let me see if I can find the other part of that goes with it. Here we go. All right, so here's the big reveal. So hopefully that gives you an indication. I think, we'll go over here a little bit, that this is a Frisbee golf course that somebody has set up, which is very cool to know. And on days that aren't Category 3 hurricane force winds, it'd be a good place to come down here and play. Very cool. I think actually a lot of this, according to this map that I'm looking at, there is, here's another T here. There is, it might be on private land, but that's hole 13. Anyway, that's all right. Nobody's complaining, and there's not a problem. I don't mean that literally, of course. But, ooh, there's a kingfisher flying by. They have these things down in South America, and specifically in Argentina, I know, that I've seen them, called giant kingfishers, and they are quite large. They're like ours, the ones we have here, but about 3 times the size. Look like a giant kookaburra. Well, a regular size kookaburra. Here's another one. Funky colors. And I think, you know, if you're not familiar with Frisbee golf, so you use these special disc or disc golf, they call it because Frisbee is a trademark name, but it's like regular golf, but you use Frisbee discs, and these yellow and stripy things, I believe, are the tees, or the holes. So you've got to hit those in as few throws as possible with your disc. And it's pretty fun. I've done it. I'm not very good at it, but I've only tried it a few times, so that makes sense. See, that's what I mean when by city walks being where we go out and discover things. I had no idea this was here, and we've discovered something. And we saw some awesome eagles too, and a kingfisher, some mergansers, similar shape. Love it. Look at all this driftwood that's been pushed up here and settled in the spring over many years. A few years ago we had I actually pushed a bison down towards Carter's Bridge. It was just sitting there rotting in the middle of the river. It was from Yellowstone, and it stank. Somebody went out there and cut off its head to take home as a I guess display, or maybe it could have been, I guess, U.S. Fish and Wildlife to test for disease or something. There's another hole there. Fun. Oh, and I see our trail back up to the top of the ridge as we make our way back. Let's go cut over here. Here's another T section. I love how they've marked the tees with flip-flops. That's fun. You can see the river again. And the highway, of course. One of the things I like about Frisbee golf, disc golf, that I don't care for regular golf. And you're about to get my own personal opinion here, so if you don't like that, mute for a few minutes. One, you don't need $800 worth of gear, right? You don't need to buy fancy clubs, shoes, collared shirts, funny hats and pants. So that's the one thing. All right, and the other thing is, most of the courses are out here in the woods or in an existing park, and you're not changing a wild space to be something else, and you're not reserving it solely for the use of a small select group of people, and you're not pouring tons of chemicals in the ground for the same thing. So rant over. There's another course, or I don't know if it's a course, but where people play. I don't think they've actually put any structures up Highlight Canyon. That's one of the few places I've played, and it's fun because you got these. You're in the woods, but there's also clearings, and there's kind of these little valleys, and there's a creek running through. It's pretty nice. Nice way to be outside. I'm going to go back to my rant a little bit and reel it back a little bit. I actually am a big fan of manicured spaces. I'm not so much a fan of vast tracts of that, reserved for a few people. Okay, done. Let's go over here walk this edge again. I mean, how can you argue with that? That is just so beautiful, isn't it? I love it. Despite the traffic noise, you get the noise of the river, occasionally an eagle or a kingfisher. Awesome. Love it. Look at those mountains. Whew. It almost makes up for the 30. No, it does. Come on, Henry. It's a beautiful place back here. I just like to... Oh, look at that blue sky. Have full disclosure. It's a beautiful, calm day today, and it's really unusual for it to be not windy. I even actually like the wind a lot of days. I love experiencing the power of nature like that. Looks like somebody's over at the boat ramp, taking out or putting in. Much like the cross-country skiing ambitions I've had, I've also wanted to do a float down the river and share that with you guys. But it's usually so complex and a little bit chaotic getting in and getting everything together, and then we usually float with other people, other families, so how to do that without forcing everyone else to be quiet can be a challenge. You can kind of see there the scale of that of the slope and the height of the bench there. You can see a jackleg fence at the top. It'll give you a little bit of scale. It's about 4 or 5 feet tall. So, well, here's a little bit of erosion. Huh. Look at this. Yeah, that's making an effort. Here's some sagebrush too. I think I've commented before, but the smell of sagebrush after a rain, oh, absolutely delightful. A little bit harsh, but also so, harsh isn't the right word, stark maybe is the right word. It's got a little bit of a bite to it. But it's also so sweet and perfumery. Perfumey? Is that a word? Probably not. Anyway. Alright, we're gonna open and then close our gate here. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna spin around slowly. Alright. Spinning around. Sorry. I say sorry because I know some of you guys are on treadmills. And that can be a little disconcerting when the camera gets whipped around one way or another. So I try to give you a heads up. I also try to do it slowly. Look at all these little plants. The peak of the summer, this Mallards Rest fishing access site, it's a boat ramp, it's a campground. In the middle of summer, it's packed. There'll be everybody, all the floaters will have their cars staged there to either come back and get, or they've already done their shuttle. But there'll be, 50 cars in there just parked in the parking, and then all of the RV spots and tent spots will be taken. Which is good. It's good that people have public lands to use, like we're using this right now. If it weren't here, we couldn't do that walk. People couldn't be out there playing disc golf. So I'm a big fan of people using our public spaces. We own them together. I've thought before it'd be a good thing to send out a certificate of ownership to these places, kind of like a share of stock. But there is a challenge sometimes when they get overused, when there's so many people trying to use them at the same time that kind of loving them to death, which I think is kind of an argument for more public land. So that pointy mountain peak is Emigrant Peak, and Traveling Mel and Anders Pot Pie, as we refer to him sometimes, climbed that 2 summers ago. And I can only say better than me. It is very steep and pretty long hike. So they had a great time doing it, and I'm very happy for them. All right, guys, we're at the back, this is that fence I was pointing out earlier. We're kind of back where we started. Here's the access road, and here is the Yellowstone River, Mallards Rest, Obsorica Beartooth. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm so happy you could be here with me today, and I hope you'll leave us a comment, click on those screens, and do all the fun stuff. But mainly come back next time. I'm not sure where it's going to be yet. But until then, keep on stepping.